This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
All right, time to talk with Dudley Dawson on our McLarty Daniel hotline. Appreciate him filling in today. Alyssa Arnold. This is usually where we have Alyssa on. She's got an Olympics meeting. Yeah, only certain people get to go to Paris for the Olympics. I guess that's not you, Dudley. So you got to talk with us. How you doing today?
Oh, pretty good. I'll get to I went to the '84 Olympics, but they didn't have them, So.
Was that the one in L.A. where
Los Angeles,
where Joe Klein won a gold medal? There was three. Was that Marvin Delft? Who was the Mike Conley? Was he on there?
Alvin Robinson.
Alvin Robinson. Mike Conley is one of the most underrated athletes ever in the history of the world. Much less Arkansas Razorbacks.
Were you in the building?
My kids went to them with Butterfield Elementary. They had Wallace Spearman, Blake Parker, Ronnie Brewer.
Oh my goodness!
Quite a class there.
Yeah.
So,
guys, take guys on 5-on-3 in that case, huh?
Yeah.
What kind of Duke team is coming in here on tomorrow night, Dudley? They didn't have like the best year last season. Looks like they have a pretty talented, tall, and another team. Another thing that stands out, like it's not a group of just freshmen, but they're kind of young. They're top. I'm looking at. Out of their top 8 scorers, 7 of them are in their first or second year.
Yeah, they had a couple of guys stick around that they thought might go to the NBA draft, and so that's helped them. I've got a chance to watch them a couple of times. It's a typical Duke team in the fact that they're going to be pretty good defensively. They're going to have 5 people on the floor who can score. It's obviously the biggest difference is the new coach they've had for a couple of years now. Went out and lost that first game, but they have certainly, played really well since that point, other than the first half, I guess, just against Southern Utah the other night. And then came back and played well there. It's going to be a massive chore for Arkansas if this game were anywhere, but Bud Walton Arena probably wouldn't give Arkansas much chance, but because it is in there and because it should be quite the festive atmosphere, even with Arkansas struggles in the Bahamas, it should be a very, very entertaining late basketball game.
Watching them down in the Bahamas, Dudley, I wonder, do you think that Arkansas passes the eye test as a top 25 team? I mean, I saw that kid from Memphis, number 8, Jones. Oh my, he's the best kid I've seen so far this year. And I know there's a lot of good ones out there, but he was a big, strong, physical kid. And I think we're lacking a little physicality. What are your thoughts on I mean, do you think this team is going to end up being a top 25 team?
As of right now, no. But because of what I've just previously watched, these last few games, but I do think that Coach Musselman has a knack for getting these guys to play together. Obviously, they're missing a couple of guys and have a couple of others that are not playing as healthy as they could. The fact that Tremont Mack had such a good game and then ends it with that fall, and we'll see what his availability is as we go along in these next couple of weeks. It's the same thing we see every year. If I hadn't seen them bounce back and be able to do what they do in March or have done in March, I'd be a little more worried. But I think they've got a really good coach, and I think you'll probably get it figured out. But the physicality is an issue. And ironically, a couple of years ago when Arkansas went up against Duke, that was one of the things that Coach Musselman came in during the offseason and said, I got to get more physical. I got to get bigger under the basket. And you look, and because you have a couple of guys out, you're basically Mekhi Mitchell is who you're battling there with right now.
Yeah, you almost you wonder if you had the other twin as well. Dudley, the one of the bright spots that I've seen is number 6 blocker. He reminds me of a guard. You'll probably remember him from Wake Forest that played for the Mavericks for a little bit, Josh Howard.
Absolutely.
But I love Blocker's instincts. What is his ceiling? How much? What do you think as a
He's got fantastic energy.
Right.
Love how he's all over.
Yeah, and I think he made a couple of steps forward, certainly there in the Bahamas. I think he's going to continue to come on. I do think, for some reason, Ellis, it didn't get to play a lot in the Bahamas. I really think that the Blocker can be a true point guard as he continues to develop. As Matt, with most coaches, the they'll play you if you're fantastic as a freshman, but a lot of them just kind of ease you in and play the older guys first, especially if they brought them here to the transfer portal. But I see a great future for him. You know, I've seen him play since he was, I think, in the 8th grade.
Okay.
He was at Little Rock Christian at one point down there, and before he went to Sunrise Christian. Just as you said, phenomenal instincts. Got great speed. The shot's going to come, and it's just I think he mentioned it the other day. He went to the basket, got bumped a little bit, and it threw off his shot. He'll play through that as he gets stronger.
Are we at a point where, look, I mean, it's like you brought up earlier, they're going to struggle. They're going to struggle to defend the post and probably rebound against Duke just because of the personnel that are available to them. You know, last year, one of the big problems was three-point shooting. Well, your two best three-point shooters were either hurt all year long in the case of Trevin Brazile and Nick Smith Jr., you know, his knee situation, and he never really was able to, get on fire. Are we there with this team now as far as physicality? Because I think they really planned on Jalen Graham being what he talked about, he worked on during the offseason. But it doesn't matter if you're not available, and with a bad back, I mean, that comes and it goes, and when it goes, it takes a while before you can get back on a court again.
Yeah, they really made a run at Hunter Dickerson. You put him on this team here, it would have been the young man that's at Kansas now. You put him on this team, and you're really looking at something special. But that may be the weak spot right there, especially defensively, as you were saying. Graham, like you said, I think he has the potential. He certainly showed some flashes last year, but availability is a big thing. And, it's why some guys in the NFL, some guys in the NBA don't get paid as much as they should have, and in for Major League Baseball as well. You've got to show up to be able to show out.
Yeah, so in the absence of Jalen Graham, in the absence of physicality, look, they're not going to get any bigger. They're just not going to get any bigger right now. And Mekhi Mitchell, I think, is who he is. And I'm not sure if, you can depend on 20 to 25 minutes a game from him. Trevin Brazile isn't going to put on 25 pounds right now.
Yeah, so but he's got to go down there.
He's got to be more fit. You're right. He's got to be. He gets pushed off. Go ahead, Dudley.
No, I'm saying he's got to go down there and place him. I realize that the pro development thing is for him to be a 3 and all that. But for this team, I think he has to go down in the post, both offensively and defensively, and be a little bit more physical.
Absolutely. He has to be a little more physical. He needs to be that 15-foot and in, just around the rim. He
also has to know that physical isn't just like, all right, I'm going to push this guy or I'm just going to fake kick somebody. I mean, it's a mindset thing, and nobody's buying it yet. I mean, you're not a tough guy if you just get a couple of technicals. That's not tough. That's kind of just, I don't know. I don't want to say what I think. It's not smart, but you got to change the mentality.
Yeah, and man, does that have to stop? In both in the games we watched with basketball last week, in one game we watched with football, you can't be a fake tough guy. You can be, I was 5'9", 160 or whatever it was, but I knocked your block off. There was nothing fake to it. There's only so much I could do at 5'9", 160. The mentality has to be. You have to have the reason Arkansas won the national championship basketball was because of the physicalness and mentality that they had. If somebody went down the lane and got a wide open layup, the next time Roosevelt Wallace knocked them out, or whoever was on that team, that's got to be. There's a difference in that and just playing undisciplined, and I think we saw a little bit of that on both sports last week.
Man, it's funny because Dudley's got. I think he took that. Mentality into his journalism too, into his writing, and when he goes on the radio, I had him on for the Razorback pregame show for, I think that was the FIU game, Dudley, right? And
yes.
No, I'm not saying this is any criticism at all, but I mean he came out with dumpster fire, embarrassment, and truly, he came aggressively. I mean, he's an aggressive journalist, just like he was an aggressive basketball player.
Calls it how he sees it.
That's right.
Well, yeah, and I'm getting too old to mess around. I'm not going to dance around anything. I'm coming right at you, getting to that point where not too long from here, I'll be able to say stuff, and they'll say, "Did he really say that?" And they'll go, "Yep," but he's getting older, so.
Dudley, I'm a Bay Fall fan. I hope he can come along and be able to play a little bit and see his minutes grow and mature. But let me ask you about number 24 Davenport and number 8 Lawson. If I was to say, hey, man, which one of those two players, Lawson or Davenport, can step up and be a guy that you can count on, which one of those guys are you taking?
Davenport, and here's the reason, because Davenport is a good outside shooter. He is a scorer. He is somebody who I think, if he was fully healthy and he gets a couple to go down, that I think that he could be a big thing. I think Lawson is a complementary player. Certainly, he can help on the inside. I realize we didn't mention him. He's had a lot of block shots and all that. But I think for this team to be able to get to where it wants to go, that Davenport has to become the player that they brought him in here to be.
Dudley, I want to just switch over to football here for a moment. Are you hearing anything about offensive coordinator? We get so many questions about this coordinator from UNLV, Brennan Marion. I'd be surprised, just because it seems like he's the most sought-after offensive coordinator. And Oklahoma's looking for a coordinator. Notre Dame is. There's others out there. Yeah, he's looking. He might be a head coach. Who knows?
Yeah. So Buster Faulkner, has been a name that's been mentioned at Georgia Tech. I don't hear any. I heard that over the weekend. I haven't heard much about that this week. You would think if that was the case, if it was going to be one of these two guys, it already would have happened. Because there's no reason to wait, and you are getting toward the end of this weekend. You certainly better have an offensive coordinator. First of all, you have to get the right offensive coordinator, but you better have him in place in the next couple of days, because people are already heading out. Yes, it's supposed to be on defense so far, but people are already heading out, and you got to know, you've got to be able to tell guys like Courtney Crutchfield, the recruit down at Pine Bluff, who's a wide receiver, who is going to run the offense next year. I mean, Otis and Richard Davenport and all of us get a lot of questions from these kids about what are they going to do. Well, we don't know as of yet.
You got to have the coordinator in place before you start bringing in players, right? I mean, they want to know who's going to run their offense.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it is a big decision. Let's just be honest about this. You make the wrong decision, it's over.
It's a chance for a young. I don't know if you go to a young guy that's proven himself, or if you go get a veteran guy, kind of like what A&M did last year, and it didn't work, and so everybody's gone. So I wonder how much pressure they got that alpha in them. They want the challenge, but I wonder what direction that the Razorbacks go in.
Well, the names that have been mentioned, Marion is 36. I think Faulkner's 42. So clearly you're looking in that range, mm-hmm. I would think. You have to have somebody, I don't know that he has to excite the fan base, but he better excite the players. He better excite the recruits. The fan base is already pissed off at how things are going. There was certainly a vocal segment. I don't know if it's a majority or a minority who are upset that Coach Pittman's, getting another year to turn it around. But, you have this NIL thing that they announced today, and hey, give $100, give $500. This was they needed to do it because they've been behind in NIL. But right. Man, you talk about time, and this is maybe not the best timing to announce it.
BetOnline is your #1 source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.